Hey y'all, my name is Travis and welcome to Travis Brick's YouTube channel. So I posted a bunch of photos of my new city garden, not to be confused with the Ninjago City Gardens, the city garden for my own city. On Instagram, I've got a lot of feedback about it, and a lot of positive feedback about it, and so I thought I'd do a quick little video about it, kind of where it's placed, and then I'm gonna actually pop it out of the city so that we can take a really close look at it. I'll kind of talk about what I did to create it because it wasn't really that difficult, I don't think. And Because it has to get popped out because I'm going to work on the cliff edge that's below it. That's going to be the pirate fortress, actually Imperial fortress, but Imperial as in the Pirates Imperial, not Imperial as in Star Wars Imperial. Um, so I have to pop it out anyways to get access to those cliffs, and maybe even not necessarily access to, but it'll just make me feel better if it's not kind of dangling a little bit in open space. And I'll take a little bit of a quick look at kind of how that support structure works also, because I think it's important to know kind of how cities are supported because it's something that's not really talked too much about. And I've certainly done a multitude of different things. And this is probably the largest section of my city that is not supported by a wooden understructure. It's actually all Lego underneath the underneath the gardens. So that's kind of unique to that part of the city, and a lot of it's just because of the train tracks that go under and kind of some of the other moving pieces around there. So we'll take a look at that too once I pop it out of its place, and we'll take a look at it. So if you want to see a more detailed look at my city gardens, make sure you stay tuned. We're gonna go take a look at that. Okay, so this is the city garden currently in its actual placement. It's missing just a couple parts, which I'll talk about once I pop it out and take a look. But I wanted to show you at least where it sits. I wanted something that was going to be a focal point for this side of the city. Let me back up a little bit. So this is kind of like the inside corner of my city. Um, and I wanted something that was kind of a focal point, but wasn't going to block the view of the modulars in the back either. So it couldn't be more modulars. It couldn't be more buildings or lots of big structures. So I wanted some sort of like park. Um, and I wanted to use the Botanical Gardens, the Friends set. And so I thought this was an excellent addition to the city. It adds a lot of color. There's a lot of gray in the city, just because that's kind of the color palette that I chose to go with for the city. And since I have elevated it, there's a lot of facades and stuff, so it's just a lot of gray. So I was really excited to not only be able to add a bunch of color, pinks, whites, greens, but also the tan wall around it I think fits in pretty well too. It just kind of breaks up some of that grayness. So I'm going to pop this out and we'll take a little bit more closer look at it. But real quick, this is the pirate fortress, Imperial Fortress, that I'm going to be working on here. I'm going to extend this. I'm going to close that up and kind of make it go all the way down along this side. And this will be kind of the pirate area. Pirates as a theme, not pirates necessarily as just pirates. There'll also be Imperials as well. Okay, I'm gonna pop this out and we'll take a quick closer look at it. Okay, so here's a quick little kind of top-down view of the garden. So this whole back half is mostly the botanical garden, and I used 3 copies of the set. And I'll talk a little more about how I came up with the design I currently end with. But there's 3 full copies of the botanical gardens there. There was a lot of parts left over. I'll talk about why I went with 3. And then kind of this half is a lot of the Tranquil Garden. The I don't know what the series. I guess it's part of the botanical series. Um, and I heavily modified that as well. And then this right here is the bonsai tree that I just kind of stuck in here. And so this is 48 across by 96. So the sidewalk that you see on the front side is actually part of these two base plates. As you know, I mills everything, and so these are two of the large base plates milled. Um, okay, so let's take a quick look at the botanical garden. And so you'll notice that this set, this kind of mock of this set, is very similar to the original as far as the building goes. I literally just copied the left to the right and then the front to the back to actually enclose it. So if I go around here to the back, you'll see that the back is actually enclosed as well. Now, all of this I kind of created to make up for the lack of room to do the same thing that's on the front side, because I don't want the same as the front side on the back, because it's not really seen too much in the city, so I thought it was kind of a little bit of a waste of space. But as you can see, there are in fact flowers and all that are original to the set inside there. On both sides, I just mirrored the set literally. You can see the top side. You can see kind of down in there. Again, a lot of similarities to the set. The only thing that's the biggest difference is that I actually added a stud in the center. So that's why it's not quite perfectly round. You can see if you look down on it, it's a little bit oval shaped. And that was just to accommodate the gardens on the inside of that front that you can't even really see too much when you're just kind of looking at it from this side. And I kind of just wanted to keep that front just a little bit more shaped. So that's why these don't quite line up. But when you're looking back from it, you can't really tell that. So I'm perfectly fine with it. I might someday think about trying to figure out something I can get to kind of close the gap. I don't know quite exactly what that might be, but I'm definitely thinking about that. And I will probably add lights to this at some point, so that's probably when that type of fix-up would come. And so, whoops, a squirrel fell. Let me grab the squirrel. Okay, so I kind of created this path from just a bunch of round tiles. And I literally just put them into a container, mixed them up, and just kind of pulled them at random. And so I used the park benches from the original set. I used the plants here from the original set. The pond is actually really similar to the original set as far as how it's made. The biggest difference is twofold. First, I actually inset it into the mills plate. The original, the pond was actually up higher. In fact, if you look at the waterfall, you can see where that original curved piece stops. That's actually where the original placement or level of the pond was in the original set. The original set, the pond's like raised up out of there. And so I inset that into the mills plate because that's one of the great benefits of the mills plate. And then I just extended the pond by a lot. And then I made sure to make more room for ducks and for lily pads and lilies and all those types of things. I expanded on all of the trees. So both this yellow tree here and the pink tree in the middle of the pond are original to the Botanical Gardens set, but I just added more to them. And in fact, this yellow tree is kind of very similar to the yellow tree that's on the inside there. So a lot of the similar type of things, techniques as far as from the original set, just kind of really expanded. And so you can see the front side of this is really similar to the original, and you'll notice that this side is basically a mirror of it. Except I didn't want to mirror the gardens, like the outside part. So this has just some foliage type stuff. These are the cactuses from the inside of here that you can't see too well. So I pulled some of and this is actually one of the plants from the inside. That's another plant from the inside. So I tried to reuse some of the plants that you can't see on the inside because I had extras because I went with 3 copies of the set. So I went to use those plants kind of outside where you can actually see them. The reason I ended up using 3 copies is twofold. First, to get enough of these pieces, I I needed to do 3 copies and to get enough of the sand green windows. 3 copies was just enough for what I needed to do. And not only just the windows, but the little plate modifieds that are the window sills. To get enough copies of those, I needed to get 3 sets. And 3 sets added me a bunch of extra flower pieces and all that, so it was well worth buying the 3rd copy of the set. I wish I would have done that from the get-go, but I kind of bought them as I went. I bought a singular version of it a long time ago. I bought another copy on Black Friday, and then after I started into this project, I realized I needed a 3rd copy and bought another one. So anyways, I ended up with 3 copies, but I'm really happy with how this turned out. One of the things I need to add yet is this will go up a couple bricks to make a nice little archway. I'm just out of tan bricks at the moment, so that will be added at some point. I like the little bees, so I added kind of some of the bees around here. And you'll see I added some of the butterflies. But while I'm here, let's take a look at this. This is the bonsai tree, literally just about as is. And in fact, I even left it on kind of the rotating base so I could turn it so it wasn't like square to the plates. So it's kind of offset a little bit with a little pumpkin patch. Again, that trail, I just kind of wind it around. There's a little bench back there that you can sit and kind of meditate. Again, those flowers over there are very similar copy of what's on the inside. And then the other thing to note, and you might have saw this when I pulled the garden out of the city, this flower actually overlaps across the base plates. And actually, when I reset this down, I actually moved it a little bit, so I'm hoping it will split a little bit easier. One of my goals in using Mills plates is trying to blur the line of where the Mills plates start and stop. It's really easy for you to be able to see the Mills plates. And I want that to not be a thing. So I'm really careful about making sure I blend Mills plates over and let some elements overlap. When I take apart some of the facades someday, I will show you how much the facades actually overlap across Mills plates. Again, just to kind of blur that line of where Mills plates start and stop. But everything in my city can be disassembled and taken over to my work desk to get worked on. But anyways, so there's a little bit closer look at kind of the inner side of the city, or inner side of the city garden here. And actually, if you look here, all of these are stuck into the limb pieces. So this is all kind of one piece, just a whole bunch of limb pieces stuck down in there. And then let's talk about the Tranquil Garden, because we're kind of to the Tranquil Garden part here. This is just a beautiful set, by the way. I would highly recommend it even if you don't do a city. It's just a beautiful set and has lots of really fun pieces that I'm excited to see become more common and easily available. But anyways, so I originally just kind of sat this in here, and the biggest hurdle that I had to overcome, and I'm going to go to the top to take a look at this, is making what was originally like a stream look more like a pond. So the original set stops right around, maybe right around here, I think. So it was a hard line right straight across there. And you can still kind of see some of the elements stop there, and there's a pretty drastic change, especially if you kind of look over here underneath the water plates. But I added this to make this look a little more pond. I just added some curves. I just kind of continued what was being done over here and just kind of continued it on around and made it kind of curve shaped to make it look a little bit more like a pond. Now over here, I did do kind of a hard stop just because I didn't have room to curve it out, and it was kind of narrow already. So I do not really mind the kind of hard stop on this side. It's a little more covered over the foliage with the end of the bridge and stuff. So I don't mind that too much. But this side I really needed to kind of work to get that kind of more of a pond feel to it. The other thing that's cool about the Tranquil Garden, if you didn't know, is a lot of these tree elements and even this little pagoda thing are actually just kind of set into the bottom. So you can actually kind of swap them out. So when I was building this, I was moving these all like around to find a placement that I liked with them. And so I can still even move some of them around a little bit. But super dense kind of foliage. I like using the little butterflies and the bees again. Just kind of add this. This is actually similar to the way that some of the trees are done in the botanical garden. So I kind of pulled those elements over. All of these trees come with the Tranquil Garden, and I really hope to see more of these pieces become cheaply or readily available because they are super fun. But I kind of moved some of them kind of more into the Botanical Gardens, kind of blur that line of where the Tranquil and the Botanical Gardens start. These are super fun, and I can't wait to see more of these come out in sets and for those to be more readily available because this look of a tree is just amazing, and I want to put these types of trees kind of throughout the city everywhere. The rest of these other two trees are actually really similar to the way that the trees were done in the Botanical Garden, so they blended in pretty well as well. This is a flower from the inside of the Botanical Garden. But anyways, so I kind of just blended that in and kind of added in a little bit on this side, a little bit that side. But a lot of the Tranquil Garden was kind of left by itself. Aside from the fact that I just kind of split the bottom, and then this is also obviously inset into the Mills plate. So I'm going to take you down real low. Cool little statue thing going on there. And so someday I will add lights to all of this, and I think that'll be super fun. It'll probably be a total pull apart to get the cords kind of hidden underneath all of the stuff. But so yeah, so that's kind of a quick view of the gardens. The cool thing about some of these trees too is you can hide these little, I don't know what they're called, but like the action pieces, so that you can hide like the butterfly in there and make it look kind of like it's floating there. I just think that that's super fun. So yeah, little bird bath over there. I don't know if I showed the bird bath next to the little bench. There's a little bird in a bird bath. But yeah, so I would highly recommend checking these sets out just for the techniques in the building of the flowers. These are just about all the leaf pieces or all the different color flowers that I had. A lot of these other flowers are from the inside of the botanical gardens. But yeah, so that's a little more of a detailed overview of the city gardens. Let's go take a quick look at kind of how it's supported in the city, because I think that that's another interesting feature of this. Okay, so this is the supporting structure underneath the gardens. So you can see that's a clear outline of the gardens. This side has these little pins sticking out. And so when I sit the garden back in, it kind of clicks into this side and then just lays on this side. And that's to just kind of keep this side supported and not like moving around. And as you can see, these are just big towers made out of Duplo and Quattro. Actually, a lot of Quattro. You can see Duplo, Quattro, 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 Duplo. System. So I go all the way up to system, and it's supported the whole way across. There's very little sag in any of this. This is pretty strong because this is Technic, just pinned to either side across any of the junction points. And then just more Duplo. So I did lie. It is supported by wood in the very back corner. But that's just because that's just left over from the rest of the set. Or rest of the city there. But again, all supported by Lego. And one more tower there. Now, I said I was going to pull all of this out. And so part of the problem will be is that these two towers are actually sitting on the base plates that this is sitting on. So I might, when I pull this apart, I might split that apart so that I might transfer this to 16 by 32 rather than a 32 by 32, so that if I ever have to pull this out again, I do not. One other thing to note is that the only non-Lego thing that I kind of allow in my city is base plates that are not seen and not really moved or used. So a lot of my train track and some of my supports use this brown fake Lego base plate, and that's because I do not feel bad about cutting it up into whatever size I need, and it's not really ever seen, so I'm not too concerned about that. And it's not sitting on anything that is particularly valuable in case of like the studs aren't quite the right size. But that is the only place that you'll see non-Lego things in my city is those kind of supporting base plate type things. So this is kind of the support structure. Like I said, I might change the bottom parts up just a little bit when I pull this all apart. But this is kind of where maybe my next kind of city update will be, is working on this new Pirate Fortress side of things. So if you like these videos, make sure that you like and hit the subscribe button down there. That really helps me out grow this channel. And make sure you tell your friends about it. And thank you so much for watching. See y'all later.